BT's Body and Balance is sponsored by Canada Diagnostic Centres, offering MRI, X-ray, and ultrasound services in Calgary and Okotoks.
On BT this morning, we continue to celebrate World Happiness Day. It's important to recognize the importance of being happy at work. Health specialist Leah Sarich joining us now with how being happy at work, whether that's outside or inside the home, can mean more overall satisfaction with your life.
Right, it totally makes sense, doesn't it?
Does.
If you think about it, we spend a third of our waking hours at work.
It's true.
And probably more so now that we're more connected than ever with all of our mobile devices. So it makes sense then that if you're happy at work, there's a good chance that will spill over into the rest of your life. If you think of the converse, so if you're stressed out at work, you can often bring that stress home, and that can affect your rest of your life negatively. So if you're happy, then this is a good thing. So I spoke with a psychology professor about how to get the most happiness out of your work.
People whose work is an extension of their own interests and own values tend to be happier in their jobs. In other words, I mean, it's been said that, you know, if you find something you love to do and then make it your job, those are the people who tend to be, you know, the most satisfied and happy with their work, because it is more of an extension of themselves as opposed to taking up a job because your parents expected you to, or, you know, this is a means to an end, so that it's more disconnected from oneself.
Right, so it's about early on identifying those core values that mean something to you, your skills, your strengths, your beliefs, that kind of thing, and then how to put those at work. And then basically Professor Klein says you can supplement your life, however, if those things aren't necessarily the match that's happening in your work. So you can find extracurricular activities.
Volunteer.
Exactly, you can volunteer. So do something to increase the amount of time, basically, that you do something that you enjoy. That's the basic idea.
Okay, now, what if I want to be an NHL hockey player at 44 years of age and I do not have the skill set?
That's right. Well, now that is the reality for many of us, isn't
realistic.
it? That is the reality. And she says that's a good thing to do. So inject a little reality into what you want to do. That's a good thing to do. But she also really recommends staying flexible. So, you know, maybe you've got this one great passion, but it's really important to develop other things along the side. So have a plan B, you know, whether you're working in an office or even if you're a stay-at-home mom, make sure you've got a plan B on the side at all times, because things happen. Children grow up, or maybe if you want to be that NHL player and you blow out your knee in practice, right? These things happen. So she says it's important to have numerous types of things that you can do, and usually there are numerous types of things that will actually make you happy, not necessarily just the one thing. And also, don't be afraid to change.
If I want to make the change, it's a big change, so how do I do that?
Yeah, well, this is the big change that we've talked about quite a bit, but Professor Klein recommends really getting some data. I mean, she's a scientist, so she says here's a real systematic approach to looking at your life to make that big change.
How am I spending my time? And what of these activities gives me a sense of either competence in my life, or enjoyment of being with other people, or pride in my kids, or what else? You know, what are these activities put me on the plus side of the happiness or satisfied dimension, and what of these things are detractors from that? What kinds of things? How am I spending my time that detract from that? And that will give you a place to start.
Interesting. Professor Klein says, like, log it.
She says,
I do
write
this,
it down.
I do that, I do this, it makes me happy, it doesn't make me happy.
Exactly. She says, map it right out. And she says, outline it so that you can actually see on paper, oh, these are the things that make me happy, these are the things not so much. And then she says, quite simply, if you can, increase the amount of time you spend doing the things that you like. It's so simple, right? But she says you can even do that on a micro level. So you can go to your boss or your colleagues at work and again do the same thing just for your job. Okay, these are the things I like doing at work, these things not so much. How can I increase my time doing the things that I like and decrease the amount of time doing things I don't like?
Makes sense to me.
It's pretty simple,
All this information will be on
all of it will be on my blog, you bet.
breakfasttelevision.ca. Good stuff. Always good to check in with Leah Sarich, especially on World Happiness Day.
On World Happiness Day.